Hi everybody. The title of this video is How to Take Care of Mom After Dad Dies. I frequently hear the words from caregivers saying, "Oh, I promised Dad I would take care of Mom," from an adult son or a daughter who thought this promise may have meant I personally have to do it all. I can't share the work with my siblings. How to take care of mom after dad dies does not have to be a solo effort unless you choose to exclude your siblings or unless you have siblings who simply don't want to be involved. Now, you might be surprised to learn that there are plenty of siblings who want to be involved in the care of their parents, with probably an equal number of siblings who don't want to be involved. There are also a number of siblings who take on this role of primary caregiver, who are over-controlling and over the top, and they drive their siblings who want to be involved crazy. So in this video, we're going to talk about siblings who want to be involved, with a sibling who may be the primary caregiver who maybe thinks that he or she has to control everything, or maybe they know best. Or maybe that sibling is thinking, well, my mom and dad asked me to care for the other parent. They wouldn't have asked me if they trusted my siblings to do it. Don't make that assumption. You may be the oldest sibling and they may have seen you fit in that role. You may be the youngest sibling. You may be the sibling who just didn't move away from home. So by default, you have that responsibility, or you were asked to take on that responsibility. Now, some siblings can also be controlling because they think, well, if I don't do this, something bad is going to happen to mom and dad, and my brothers and sisters aren't available, and maybe they don't care as much as I do. Well, you won't know that until you ask, right? So first of all, if this is you and you are that sibling who was asked to take care of mom after dad died, or asked to take care of dad after mom died, are you excluding your siblings? If you are, take a step back and look at why. What kind of situation exists? Do you and your siblings get along, or maybe you don't get along? What I can tell you is family relationships are rarely perfect. Rarely perfect. There's always somebody in a family who doesn't get along perfectly, but it doesn't mean that you can't get along and establish a working relationship to care for parents. So what? Maybe you didn't get along when you were younger. Maybe your parents made it difficult for you to get along because of their behaviors. Maybe they were great at pitting one child against the other child, and so because of that, you just didn't get along. But just think of this, regardless of how you got into this situation, who's the most important person in this equation? If your dad has passed away, it is your mom who survived. If your mother passed away, it is your father who survived. They are the most important people in this equation. So if you and your siblings can set aside your differences, it is possible to come together to care for a surviving parent. So stay with me while I share 3 tips about how to take care of mom after dad dies, or take care of dad after mom dies. If this is your first time on my channel, I'm Pamela D Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker. Scroll below this video. There are plenty of links to my website, online courses, my podcast, a way to schedule a one-to-one consultation with me. Please do click the like button, click the follow button, share these videos. There are over 900 here now. Your participation helps other people find their way here. Even a little thank you or a comment makes a big difference. So tip number 1 for how to take care of mom after dad dies is to realize that your mother is probably grieving the loss of her life partner. If your father was on hospice care before he died, know that there is a hospice benefit for grief counseling sessions, and these are free sessions. Your mom could go to grief counseling sessions to talk about how she's working through the emotions of losing your father, or vice versa, your father could go about losing your mother. Or maybe your mother would like to go to some other different type of counseling. Whatever type of counseling, it's good to have somebody talk to who, maybe isn't an adult child about how they're feeling. There are also a lot of widowed spouses groups out there, soul partner spouse groups out there that you may be able to find for your mom or dad to attend. There's also a statistic out there that says it takes 1 month for every year that a couple has been together to grieve. So let's say that your parents have been together 40 years. That's 40 months. Now, everybody's different. It may take somebody 40 months or 50 months. It may take somebody 2 months or 6 months. A lot of this depends on the situation before your parent died. So if they had a long illness and your mother or father was that primary caregiver for the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, maybe they are just so exhausted at this point that while they're grieving the loss, they just want to sleep and rest and start doing some things for themselves. So while they're grieving, it may be easier for them to work through this loss because they've actually grieved this loss through their day-to-day caregiving over the past 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years. So in that sense, grieving may go faster. Every situation is different. Grieving styles are different. Grieving times are different. The big thing is just to be patient with your surviving parent and ask how they're feeling and what they're doing and what they want for their life. Don't just jump in and start making suggestions about, well, you should sell the house and you should move here and you should do this and you should do that. Your grieving parent needs a little time to settle in. Be patient and have conversations, but don't push your agenda or what you think needs to be done on your parent. Number 2, and this is a big one that people bring up all the time, if your father spoiled your mother because of cultural issues, this is the way we do it in our family, my mom never had to work a day in her life, all those kind of things, and now you are the caregiver for your mother, you may have your hands full changing a situation where your father made your mother extremely dependent on him. It's going to be a little hard for you, but it is not impossible. What you want to do is you want to focus on helping your mom gain her independence. And the way that you say this is, hey mom, I know dad took care of all these things for you. You were married to him. I'm your son, I'm your daughter. We're not married. I have my own spouse, I have my own children. So the way that I'm going to help you is I'm going to help you learn how to be independent. And that's what this means. What do you think we should work on first? Is it balancing the checkbook? Is it knowing how to call the plumber when you have a plumbing leak so that you're not calling me? Is it, teaching you a number of other things around the household? Because believe it or not, there's online classes for this. There are your friends who probably do this every day that you can talk to instead of having to call me. Because our relationship is not going to be a duplicate of the relationship that you had with dad who did everything for you. It's not practical for me. I can't do it, and I don't want to do it. Okay? So, learning as much as possible is going to be a good thing. It's not that I don't want to be helpful. There are things I can do and things I can't do. But our goal is independence for you. Tip number 3. Share the whole experience with your siblings. The experience of how do we help mom be more independent? The experience of understanding your mom's grief process. So depending on if your father's just passed away or maybe he's been gone for a few years, you might need to talk about how often you meet with your siblings, right? That can be a time constraint for you. So something that you can do along those lines is to say, hey, sibling number 1, 2, 3, 4, why don't we all get together and talk about mom and how we can help mom plan the rest of her life or address care issues or health issues or financial issues or really any kind of issues that mom's facing, because obviously we all care about mom. Now I realize that we may not all get together. We may not all see eye to eye. Maybe one of us is more interested in her day-to-day care. One of us might be good at medical stuff. Another one may be good at financial. We all have different interests. We all have different skills, but we all care about mom or dad, right? And so let's get together by a Zoom meeting or virtual meeting. Maybe it's once a week or twice a week. We can set up agendas. I think the most important thing, though, is that we communicate and we're transparent about information that we're sharing. And really, from my standpoint, now I'm not talking as a sibling, I'm talking as me, Pamela. Where I see this being challenging is siblings who remember things that happened as they were children and didn't get along, or who are saying, well, you did this, or you did that, or you did that. Biggest thing is to focus on like the future, not like what happened in the past. Recognize that that happened, but kind of close the door on that if you can for the purpose of these meetings. It's not that you can't deal with it outside of these meetings, but in these meetings, it's mom is the focus. How do we work together? How do we not let past differences affect us? How do we communicate respectfully? One of the biggest things is, as children, you should all communicate together in meetings or at the same time if possible. You don't want to have side meetings between siblings, because then siblings can feel like two siblings over here are talking about two siblings over here, and maybe you've got mom in the middle and you get all this mess about like siblings who don't trust each other or who feel like you're not being transparent, or maybe you're lying about something. Avoid that by having conversations amongst all of you. It totally simplifies the situation. And then talk about, again, what do you want to plan about? What's next? What's after that? What are everybody's concerns? Maybe initially you have weekly meetings, and then they go to every other week, and then they go to once a month. But the most important outcome here, system of communication between all the siblings, and then a system of communication with mom or dad who is a surviving spouse, so that everybody's on the same page, at least to the degree that you can be. Now, you're not going to agree on everything, but what things can you compromise on so that maybe something that you want to do that everybody else doesn't want to do, your other siblings can compromise on, right? So a lot of this is work in process and communication and compromise. A lot of siblings find this very difficult, I'm going to be honest, especially if you didn't all get along. There's a link below this video. You can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me to learn how I can help. I hold a lot of ongoing sibling meetings, at least initially, just to get people started with the process. And then you all can take it over and go forth with your own meetings, right? Know that how to take care of mom after dad dies, or how to take care of dad after mom dies. It can be a process of trial and error and making mistakes and learning as you go, because nothing is perfect, right? Much of how your mother or father responds to the death of the other spouse depends on the relationship that your parents had when they were living. Were your parents both independent and they shared a lot of the responsibilities equally? Or did your dad do a lot of things that make your mom dependent, or your mom did a lot of things that made your dad dependent? It's so different in every marriage. Losing a life partner can be one of the most challenging aspects of life. I have seen spouses, male and female, who took months to grieve, years to grieve, and others who grieved during the caregiving process, and others who went on very quickly because they had pre-established routines and activities and friendships during the marriage while they were caring for their spouse that they just carried on after the death of a spouse. In a perfect world, that is the ideal situation, but it doesn't always happen. Think about this. If you're an adult child and you're married or you're partnered, look at your situation today. Are both of you independent? Does one of you do more than the other? Does one of you do specialized activities like paying the bills, or one of you takes care of the dog, or whatever? If all of a sudden 50% of your relationship was gone, one of you were gone, what would happen? Would you know how to take care of the other 50%? Would it be easy for you to live without the other person? These are significant considerations for spouses, for partners of all ages, because eventually we're going to be without a spouse. We may be the spouse who dies first. We may be the spouse who survives. It's important to think about this in how you're planning your lives and taking on responsibilities, and in considering this for your parents. So if you're a caregiver for your parents and one of your parents is sick and your parent hasn't passed away yet and maybe they're seriously ill, these are conversations to have before that other parent passes away. You know, what did you do? What were your main responsibilities that mom or dad may not know about? Can we talk about this so that we can make sure as kids that we carry this on, that we know where all the important paperwork is, that we know where everything is? It's so important. These are very difficult situations to talk about. They can be very emotional, but they are so, so important so that you can support a mom or a dad when the other spouse passes away, and so that you can plan to take care of yourself and your spouse as you age. I thank you all so much for being here. Please, again, click the like button, click the follow button, share these videos with other people that you know. There are plenty of links below to my website, my podcast, one-on-one ways to schedule consultations with me. You can also go to my website, PamelaDWilson.com, click on the Services tab and Elder Care Consultation, and you can schedule a one-to-one meeting with me. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a fabulous day today. I look forward to seeing you all again soon in another video.